Welcome back to the Automotive Insiders program. I'm your host, Jason Stein. Great to have you back listening again with us this week on this platform. The PACE Awards has been a symbol of excellence for a long time. And on this episode, we'll explore that simple but powerful question related to PACE. What does winning automotive innovation actually look like? And across the supplier community, innovation has never moved faster. Technologies are becoming more complex, product cycles are compressing, and expectations from automakers are higher than ever. But separating true market-ready breakthroughs from clever ideas on paper can be challenging, and that's where the PACE Awards come in. For decades, PACE has been one of the industry's most respected benchmarks for recognizing real, commercialized innovation. It's not about glossy presentations or futuristic concepts. It's about execution, customer impact, and technologies that are already making a difference. Today, we'll talk to the head of PACE Judging, Doug Ober, who has seen this process from the inside. We'll dig into why the PACE Award still matters for suppliers, what judges actually look for in a strong application, and the common mistakes companies make when trying to tell their innovation story. Most importantly, we'll explore what separates finalists and winners from the rest of the field, whether it's clear data, real customer adoption, honest storytelling, or innovations that solve genuine problems at scale. It's part of the supplier community, and it is one of the most recognized awards in the industry. MEMA is the exclusive lead sponsor of the Automotive News PACE Awards. Today, we'll talk all about it here on the program. Doug Ober, what a pleasure to have you on the program. It is good to be with you again. It has been a long time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for being with us. The PACE Awards, you and I both know extremely well. I'd love for you to explain for those who maybe aren't as maybe well informed, from a judge's perspective, why does the PACE Award still matter for suppliers today? I know it has been, personally, I know it has been a benchmark of the industry. We used to call it the Oscars when we would hand it out on the red carpet. But what for you, why does it matter?
That's an interesting question. I think that the relevance of PACE to suppliers today is in some ways the same as it's always been. It's a form of recognition, of a benchmark recognition that says that this is the best of the best. But what we've seen in PACE over the last 30 years, and I know I was associated with you for many of those 30 years, what we've seen in PACE recently is that the PACE Awards are now recognizing innovation in new areas. It's not just product anymore. It's process, it's business models, it's other aspects that have always been there, but we're seeing tremendous innovation with the switch from horsepower to compute power. And we're seeing a whole new infrastructure and ecosphere of innovation coming through those areas, and PACE is right on top of it. We're seeing, new computer operating systems, new electrical distribution systems, and it is still the benchmark. As far as we can see, it is still the benchmark in the industry.
There used to be a billboard that was on one of the Detroit interstates. I think it was after Borg Warner had won, and they had it up there for a year, and it was right near their headquarters, and it was PACE Award winner. And for me, that was the gold standard, that if a supplier was spending money to tout the award that they had just won, it was not a marketing trophy. It was a signal of credibility, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The process, as you know, is pretty rigorous. And so to actually win the PACE Award, the judging team has spent a full day at your facilities going through with a fine-tooth comb what's going on. They dig really deep, and as a result, I mean, it's something to be really proud of. And I also have driven by and seen that banner, and absolutely, it's very impressive, and everybody going by sees it. It's great.
Yeah, it's an emphasis on real world impact and execution, and you just hinted at it. from from 3 decades ago to today, what a transformation you've witnessed in terms of, I can remember the de-icing sensors that were on wiper blades, right?
Right.
And now all the way up to, as you say, software defined vehicles, computing power, AI. I mean, in a way, the evolution of the industry has been documented by PACE Awards.
Absolutely. That's a very good comment on your part, and I couldn't agree more. And one of the hallmarks of this documentation, and I'm not throwing shade at CES because we're all coming out of CES and it's a
Right.
wonderful experience, but you don't have to have a signed OEM contract. You don't have to have a start of production. It can be it can be imaginary is the wrong word, but it can be something you look forward to, but you don't actually, it's not real yet, if you will. PACE Awards are very different because this is technology that is in vehicles, and consequently, as you say, we've documented it through adoption, the transformation that's going on, and it's just tremendous. I mean, what we're seeing and you're seeing in the industry today is unlike anything we've seen in the last 20 years. And PACE is right there, right in the mix, right in the middle of it all. So to be a PACE judge and to participate in the program is super honor, because it's just something, you're right in the center of it all. And, we're seeing it go global, but we're seeing Detroit coming right back. So it's not over. It's right in there.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that, because it's an important point of distinction out of the hundreds and thousands of innovations that were in Las Vegas. We go now to PACE in the real world. What do judges truly look for in a strong application, and where do suppliers go wrong?
The judges really focus on changing the rules of the game. So whatever the innovation is, wherever it appears in the automotive value chain, it's got to change the rules of the game for that area, however they define it. So we look for impact, we look for change of the game, and then where they go wrong is often they will focus on the result, not the innovation that gave them the result. So
Right.
we're interested in what was the innovation, not what was the result of the innovation. And too often that is where they stumble, I would say.
That's an important point. Let's also emphasize clear problem definition, clear customer value, right? So
Absolutely.
throw
Absolutely.
out the vague metrics, throw out the overstuffed narratives,
Right.
throw out the buzzwords, right, Doug?
Yes.
Just get down to it.
And one of the things we did over the last summer is we rewrote the application, because the PACE application had gotten, I want to call it a little Frankenstein-y. We kept adding parts and adding parts. And by the time you get done, you had this 20-page application that Frankenstein's the best description. So we went all the way back to fundamentals. And to your point about clearly stating the problem and the value to the customer, the application has gone all the way down to basically 2 pages. And it does place a burden on the applicant to really focus on what is the innovation in a clear, concise way. But we're seeing a lot of applications coming in already this cycle. We're seeing increased numbers, and we're seeing a diversity of applications coming from a broad range of suppliers that maybe weren't considered traditional, metal benders. We're seeing a lot of computing, electrical, software. We're still seeing the odd product, the old thing you can touch and pound and feel, but those are definitely in the decline in terms of the PACE application pool these days.
So, because of the rigor, because of the attention to detail in the application, and of course, trying to get, trying to bring your entire team together in order to win this. If you don't win, there's absolute value, right, Doug? Because wouldn't it sharpen the organization on some of the basics of what it's doing and maybe even create some internal alignment?
So we definitely see that. One of the things we do is we give a debriefing to any people who were not successful to explain exactly, where they went wrong, so to speak. And what we're finding, the feedback we get is the exercise itself was absolutely tremendous. It brought the team together. It recognized all levels. And as you recall, some some suppliers actually will hold internal contests within themselves, and the winner or the winners will actually apply for PACE. So they have a bake-off, if you will, internally, which again strengthens the team, keeps people focused. I think the whole process itself is very beneficial. Whether you win or lose, the process is making the elements that you pointed out, makes everybody a winner.
So I'm a finalist and I'm a winner, or I'm a winner rather. I guess you could be both. You could be a finalist that is then one. What separates those two groups? When we get down to actually handing out the trophies, what separates one from the other?
It's that change the rules of the game and market impact. You can change the rules in the game and something that is going to, in the judge's view, have no impact. So, maybe it's a innovation that one OEM needed because they had boxed themselves into a problem. So it was a creative solution and it helped the supplier win some business, but the solution had no broader impact on the industry. It didn't advance the industry. So we look at, what the innovation can do, not only in the initial application, but where could it lead to? How will it advance the industry? And we give that a little extra weight. That's often what separates the almost winners from the winners.
And when we talk about the types of innovation that judges are most interested in seeing, we'll go back to real world problems, not incremental tweaks, but mostly completely new areas, right? So for those suppliers who are listening who maybe have never considered applying or haven't been part of the process, if your software, if your systems integration, if your cross-domain solutions, as long as you're improving cost, speed, sustainability, resilience, you need to think about it, right?
Absolutely. And we see more of those these days than ever before, and the judges are very supportive of those efforts. When we see those applications, we make sure that we give them, as maximum attention as possible. I have a broad range of judges who are on the judging panel, and we make sure that we assign judges to those site visits that are has as much expertise as we can muster to make sure that we really understand and get all the nuances out of those new emerging areas.
Wonderful. Well, it is the PACE Awards. He is the director of judging, Doug Ober, and just so everybody knows, the PACE deadline is coming quickly, right, Doug?
February 9th is the first deadline. And because historically people have somewhat applied late after the deadline, we have a second late deadline, which is basically a few days after that. There's a small financial penalty. So we encourage everybody to get your applications in by February 9th, but we also understand that bringing a large team together on a complex product sometimes takes longer than you expect. So we try to be flexible there.
All right, one more thing. When it comes to the number of judges, you mentioned judges, but just how many judges are on the panel?
So we have 23 this year, and they hail from Japan, Germany, America, Canada, and we're in the process of recruiting a Korean judge, so he hasn't come on board yet. So we're expanding the judging pool to reflect the growing diversification in the automotive industry, the emerging areas. A lot of it's happening outside of the U.S. And so we've added computer programming specialists as judges. We have a full range of chemical judges, process judges, manufacturing judges. So we've really tried to cover the broad swath of the industry.
Recognized worldwide, the PACE Award celebrates innovations that redefine industry standards. And remember, if your innovation has been sold to a customer, you can file your application, and hopefully you will be one of those who is honored as an innovator driving automotive innovation forward. And that, by the way, is open to automotive suppliers, including traditional and non-traditional and startups. And
it's just to interject for a second, Jason, it also it's open to tier 2 suppliers, not exclusive to tier 1. And also, we have a new program that was launched 5 years ago that's been very successful called PACE Pilot.
Yes.
And PACE Pilot is for innovators who have not yet received an SOP, and they're still in the developmental phase. And so if you haven't got a signed contract yet, but you are in that process, PACE Pilot is an award that I would highly recommend that you take a look at. The judging is done a little bit differently. It's video only. We don't do in-person site visits for PACE Pilot, but it's a good way to get a temperature read on what PACE is looking for and how your innovation might stack up. We see many go from PACE Pilot winner to PACE winner once they get an SOP. So it's not necessarily a direct link, but it's absolutely a way to sort of get your toes wet and experience the program if you don't have an SOP yet.
AAA ball moving up to the major leagues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
that's
Doug?
a nice way to describe it.
Yeah, open to early stage innovations, not yet sold to an OEM at this point. All right, applications are open. Applications close February 9th. The PACE Award in-person site visit schedule is from April 1st to June 30th. And then award winners for both PACE and PACE Pilot, the finalists rather, will be announced in late July. Doug, it's great to be back with you again. Folks can find out more at autonews.com/PACE. And thank you for being on the program, and great to see you.
It's great to see you again, Jason. Nice speaking with you.
Thanks again to my guest, Doug Ober, head of judging for the PACE Awards, where MEMA is an exclusive lead sponsor this year. Once again, the PACE Awards is recognized worldwide as celebrating innovation that redefines industry standards. And just as a recap, applications are now open for the PACE Awards. They close February 9th. The PACE Award in-person site visit schedule will be April 1st to June 30th. And the 2026 PACE Award and PACE Pilot finalists will be announced in late July. I'm your host, Jason Stein. Thanks for listening again. We'll see you next time.